2011 to 2013, Malaysia's GDP growth rate has been through slight ups and downs until it reached to its highest growth rate at 6% in year 2014, increased by 1.7% from year 2013. Then it reached its lowest in the 6-year time period at 4.3%, decreased by 1.2% from year 2015. Overall, Malaysia's GDP growth rate curve is maintained the highest compared to Australia and Canada. In year 2012, Australia's GDP growth rate has reached its peak at 3.9%, increased by 1.4% from the year 2011, and then suffers decline by 1.3% in year 2013 at 2.6%. It continued to decrease by 0.1% until reached its lowest at 2.4% in year 2015, and it increased to 2.8% in year 2016 by 0.4%. The average of Australia's GDP growth rate is placed in second in the three countries. In year 2011, Canada's GDP growth rate reached its peak at 3.1%. After that, it plunged down to 1.8% in the following year and increased up to 2.5% and continued to increase until in year 2015 it drops down to 1%. Canada's GDP growth rate is the lowest among the three countries. GDP growth rate can be measured by expenditure approach, but the figure would not be accurate because some are excluded in the calculation of GDP, example, transfer payments, stock market transactions, and second-hand items. Also, not all the final goods and services are counted, for example, household production, counterfeit goods, and barter trade.
For Malaysia, the lowest inflation rate is recorded at 1.65%, but still ranks in the middle of two countries in year 2012. The highest inflation rate is recorded at 3.2% in year 2014, higher than Australia and Canada. For Australia's inflation rate, the highest is in year 2011 at 3.3%, higher compared to Malaysia by 0.1% and Canada by 0.39%. For the following year, it went up and down, recorded at 1.76%, 2.45%, 2.49%, 1.51%, and its lowest in year 2016 at 1.28%. Compared to Malaysia, it is less than 0.37%, but still higher than Canada by 0.34%. For Canada's inflation rate, its highest in year 2011 at 2.91%, but still lower than Malaysia and Australia. Canada also has the lowest inflation rate of the three countries at 0.94%. Inflation is a condition where items, goods, and services become more expensive as time progresses. The inflation rate shows the percentage change in CPI. The higher the rate, the increases the cost of living of the people in the country.
Malaysia unemployment rate compared to other two countries is lower among them. the lowest unemployment rate recorded at 2.87% in year 2014 and the highest at 3.44% in year 2016. But it is less compared to the Australia and Canada. For Australia unemployment rate, it is lower in year 2011 at 5.08% and higher is it at 6.07% in year 2014. Australia sits in the middle between both countries. For Canada unemployment rate, having the higher than Australia and Malaysia for the year 2011 to year 2016. In year 2011, it had reached the higher at 7.51% and is lower in year 2014 and year 2016 at 6.91%. Unemployment rate are people that are currently without a job but actively looking for one in the labor force. Unemployment rate is the percentage of people unemployed from the labor force. The higher the unemployment rate, more people are employed in the labor force.
We had our review and analyzed the three charts that we obtained from the Google Public Data Explorer and a discussion. In conclusion, we all agreed that if given choices to work in those three countries, Malaysia, Australia and Canada, we decided to vote for Australia to work for. The reason why we chose Australia is that its overall performance, Australia shows the most consistent and stable in terms of GDP growth rate, inflation rate, and unemployment rate. In GDP growth rate, even though it is the lowest among the three countries in year 2011, since then it has shown a more consistent and stable economic growth curve throughout the 6-year time period, compared to Malaysia and Canada, which their growth rate curve is unstable and distance give any assurance to us that it will continue to maintain consistently like Australia's GDP growth rate. Inflation rate, all three countries start at high inflation rate in year 2011. Australian inflation rate only rise in year 2012 to 2013 and it maintains until year 2014 and decrease in inflation rate dramatically in year 2011 to become the lowest compared to Malaysia and Canada. This shows that Australia has a low and stable cost of living and we don't have to worry about to reside in Australia for the long run as our wages can cover the living costs at there. In unemployment rate, Australia ranks second and although it shows increase in number of unemployment from year 2011 to 2016, it shows that Australia is full of job opportunities and it can assure us that we can have a better job with better salary and thus our standard of living improves.
Allow him to feel accomplished and give him a high status ranking that he enjoys. Thus, the worker is gaining more freedom in financial management as he has more money to fulfill his needs and wants. As for the consumer, strong economic growth means that more goods and services are produced in the country. Thus, more options available for the consumer. Their purchasing power also increase because of their increase in income and increase in their standard of living. For community facility can be upgraded, for example, playgrounds, libraries, and others, greatly benefits the people in the community. The cost of living is the amount of money needed to sustain a certain standard of living by affording basic expenses
such as housing, foods, taxes, and healthcare. Affordable cost of living means the cost of living is low. When the cost of living is low, the worker will have income, so they have extra money to purchase better goods and services to satisfy their own needs and wants. Making investment in different areas like housing, unit trusts, bonds, stocks, and others. Thus, their personal financial burden is lifted because they have the more money to put in their savings or pay money installment for their house loan or car loan. Besides of this, as a consumer, they will be able to fulfill their basic necessities even if they had a low salary jobs, as everything becomes cheaper and affordable, and more options for the consumer to make their best choice. Last, low cost of living can decrease the poverty of the country. For example, the number of beggars will decrease because the cost of living is low, so they will consider to apply for a job to generate income to improve their living standards.
A low employment rate means the number of people actively seeking work is low relative to the population of active workers. When low employment rate is occurred, it will cause workers easy to find jobs. Companies need workers to fulfill their needs and wants, therefore they hire workers to expand operations. Low employment potential, the proportion of jobs reachable is surprising active compared to the reality of workers competing for those positions. Because fewer people are searching for work, employees have to provide greater wage to empty humans to work for them, which means income go up. Low employment rate can cause high consumer purchase power. When they have work and work provide them income, they have money to purchase anything. Last, low employment reduces stress and government and taxpayers. With more people working, the government has less burden to put money into welfare assistance programs. Also, more people working allow the government to bring in more tax revenue. Higher revenue and reduced payout create a more fiscally responsible operation. The government does not have to rely as much on borrowing to keep up with bill savings on interest payment. Unemployment is associated with other social problems. Drug and alcohol abuse and related crime and much more prevalent in neighborhood, city, and country with high rate of unemployment. For example, the most likely time for teenagers to commit crime is between the end of school and the time parents return home from work. The reduction of employment may help reduce other problems that face society. High employment over an extended period of time will cause a country to have a lower standard of living than it would with low employment.
The first criteria that affect me why I am choose to work at Australia is an efficient healthcare system in Australia. The Australian healthcare system provides a wide range of services from population health and prevention through the death to general practice and community health, emergency health services and hospital care, and rehabilitation and palliative care. General practitioners and emergency departments act as the main gateways to other healthcare services, including diagnostic tests, specialist consultation, hospital admission, and inpatient care, which much of the world already developed or still developing. A completely viable healthcare is still largely the holy grail of group governance, except here in Australia. Hospital services in Australia are provided by both the public and private sectors. Public hospitals are owned and managed by state and territory governments. Medicare provides access to free treatment and accommodation in a public hospital for Australian residents and overseas visitors from countries with a reciprocal arrangement. You can choose to have Medicare only or a combination of Medicare and private health insurance coverage. The pharmaceutical benefits scheme ensures that Australians have access to affordable medicines. Australians can access a wide range of medicines without having to pay full price. One of the best ranked in the world in terms of health equality, responsiveness equality, and fair financial contribution. It offers a twofold system of public and private health insurance, with the more affluent citizens being encouraged to opt for the private system by delivering a 1% tax increase if they ever choose to go otherwise, freeing more room for the middle and lower class population to take advantage of the public system.
Economy has been the success story of the last few decades. It is grown and grown. Job opportunities are available to everyone. Australia is a more meritocratic country than just about anywhere else. For many years, Australia has had some of the lowest unemployment figures in the OECD. As of December 2018, unemployment rate was steady at 5%. There is plenty of casual work available, especially for young Australians and international students. Australia's minimum wage is one of the highest in the world, and the Fair Work Ombudsman is tasked with ensuring that employees receive all entitlements according to government regulation. Even those in casual jobs are paid much more than in Europe. Australia offers plenty of great career opportunities, with the local economy in good shape, and many companies focus on growth with plans to expand their workforce. As a worker in Australia, you will be covered by the basic rights and workplace protection that all employees enjoy under local law. Working in Australia enjoying a good standard of living and wage are generally high by international standards. However, you need to be sure that living and working in Australia is financially viable for you. These include doing your research into what will be your cost for living, which will be impacted by what part of Australia you plan to reside during your employment.